With it being over a year since the release of Godzilla x Kong, Hiya Toys decided now would be the perfect time to capitalize off the respective film. Talk about poor timing. And Hiya, rather than being upfront and giving us an all-in-one pack, learned from their fellow competitors and decided to double down on their short-term revenue by releasing 2 separate figures. So join me on this ride as we're bouncing forth and back between the pyramids of Giza to the Hollow Earth and have a keen look at everybody's favorite monkey. When opening the box and after getting a good old sniff of the newly molded plastic,
do you have a drug problem? No.
It is obvious that not only does our God of War wannabe scale at the higher end regarding size, but also due to his muscular build, Kong overshadows most of his primary contemporaries, that when provided the opportunity, he's likely to fist. This is in due to our monkey boy standing at a whopping 16 centimeters or 6.3 inches tall, which would have landed him in the taller side had it not been for my previous figure. Burn, heretic! Here's the monkey duo next to Gunpla, Figurestoknow, Astartes, and Hiya Toys. But we all know what you're actually here for, as Hiya Toys constantly strive for figure perfection, in which their sculpting techniques were a consecutive improvement from their predecessors, and the King of Hollow Earth faithfully abides to such stigma. Firstly, look at the newly molded head. While I was exceptionally pleased with Hiya's previous version of the GxK version of Kong, the GxK version here shook me to my core, as just like Godzilla evolved, Kong's plastic surgery do-over puts those seen on anime waifus to shame, as seen through the added fur details that with extra lining and dry brushing adds extra depth in the already impressive sculpt and makes it look like an actual gorilla was placed in front of me. The rigid and steep eyebrows, the pupils that with extra finesse details reflects Kong's generous and kind-hearted soul, the almost fleshless nature of the nose commonly found in gorillas, the slightly pimped out mouth, to the newly added Kratos-inspired beard, that all add up in reflecting Kong's more wise and mature nature. But if the mundane face is a little too emotionless for you, Hiya's got you covered, as both versions of Kong are accompanied by these 2 alternative faces. Firstly, there is this angry face that is able to replicate the expression of Kong's anger building up inside when he witnesses acts of unjust cruelty being abused onto innocence, as portrayed through the further inverted eyebrows, the eyes that are now filled with hostile intent, the added wrinkles on the snout, to the exposed teeth, making the perfect face when Kong is in a Mexican standoff with a hostile. Then there is this battle face that is commonly seen when Kong is engaging hostiles regardless whether they're Titan or machine, in which it proves not only to reflect Kong's fury, but also acts as psychological warfare to those that dare oppose the titular monkey. Such wrath and fury are witnessed through the similarly inverted eyebrows, eyes that this time around are equipped with intent to kill, and a full-on open mouth in which not only expose Kong's numerous rows of those gnarly teeth, but also his tongue that makes it perfect when Kong is about to eat is actively engaging in battle, and Hiya decided to double down on the details as this face fully exposes Kong's implant, truly proving that a monkey has better dental care than most of the British population. But a face can only do so much if there isn't a hard and thick core to support it, and Kong here comes locked and loaded, starting off with those tough and thick packs that clearly shows Kong has been doing his reps, but also Hiya decided to add extra details to the already wrist out sculpt as portrayed through the scars inflicted by the big G in the previous film, but also the cheeky bastards at Hiya had the balls to add some tits. I wish the anime figures had the same amount of details. Oh wait, they do. But it's not just the front that men should strive to wrap up, but also the back, as Kong over here comes with a ripped out back in which, even with the heavy layers of fur, the intricate muscles underneath shine, allowing our titular monkey to fully engage in parkour dynamics, making him a hell to deal with in the eyes of other titans. But a disappointing aspect regarding, not just Kong, all other humanoid titans is that regardless of their physical prowess, they lack the pivotal component that makes them a man, making Kong over here more or less identical with that of an Adeptus Astartes. If you know, you know. At least he has a great ass. Oh, that means Kong's a guy on the defensive. But it's in the legs that Hiya might have went a little too far, as the previous GvK version of Kong with those sturdy legs could support himself without the need of an additional stand. But Hiya decided to throw that out of the window for added articulation, resulting in some very poseable but flimsy legs that without the aid of stand fails to support Kong's wrist out upper half. Still great for those foot fetishes. But what differentiates these two versions of Kong are the arms, in which the first release version is more or less the embodiment of the peak of gorilla kind, as besides the heavy layer 4K definition fur are the ripped out muscles that make the titular gorilla here the pinnacle of close quarters combat, especially with those big and bulky hands made for not only punching but also groping. But when Kong is hit with sub-zero temperatures rendering his right arm useless alongside losing his axe, the humans in all their wisdom, rather than coming up with another mech, instead decide to arm a titular monkey, in which Kong was first to be armed with the gauntlets of Ultramar, the Beast Glove that not only enables Kong to walk off blows from world-class titans, but also adds additional strength into his blows, allowing Kong to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Big G and Shimo. And Hiya, when recreating the Beast Glove, decided to go all in as they spared no expense in recreating the intricate details from the machine components to the weathered dry brush paint job. This is not mentioning the added gimmicks such as the retractable ends on the side to the one on the top for the extra kinetic energy. But a downside regarding Gauntlet is, due to the girthy nature of the titular tool, they obstruct side-to-side movement for the arm, limiting the poses the right arm can fully pull off, as well as the extra weight making the arm movement a little too flimsy compared to Hiya's previous roster. And I want to make a joke regarding Kong using his right arm, but considering his piss poor state, I don't think our monkey here likes to play with himself. Now, if you're familiar with kaiju figures, you know that 90 to 98% of the budget is spent on the mold and roughly 10%, if you're lucky enough, is allocated to the accessory department, in which we're awarded with parts like non-usable hands to
nothing at all.
And the kaiju fanbase became more or less numb to such phenomena. But life occasionally likes to give us surprises, and both versions of Kong truly live up to their name. Firstly, as the primate Kong is, he is accompanied with extra hands. Besides the typical fist, the oil, holding hands for Kong to wield his titular battle axe, open hands for either some cool poses or full-on groping, and walking on all four hands that, just like the name, allows the titular monkey to walk on all fours like the filthy animal he is. Burn, you filthy beast! And for your Beast Glove version, the right hand comes with their respective hands regardless of whether it's a fist, holding hand, open hands, or walking hands. But for your pre-Gauntlet version, Kong comes armed and ready with his respective battle axe. That last time was impressive, but this time around comes with some extra spice, as while not as big as the previous iteration due to the likely change in size, and loses most of its blue hue, and their place is painted in a metallic gray color scheme alongside the translucent nature of the plastic underneath, adding to the shiny nature of the battle axe, as well as the extra grainy nature of the bone handle and the wooden gloss at the end. But if you thought the improvements ended here, oh boy, do I have some good news for you! As the previous release of Kong, while sculpt-wise were the pinnacle of ape-related figures, the posability department was where Hiya decided to cut some corners, as they were more or less a statue and made even the bulky Space Marines and power armor look like acrobatic silky in comparison. But that's no longer the case, as the corners that were cut on Godzilla seem to have been funneled to our titular monkey boy here, as Hiya decided to go extra stretchy, extra girthy, and extra monkey under consecutive release. The head with the newly upgraded joints can not only move up and down, but a full 360. While front and back movement for the torso is limited, side to side movement is out of this world. Shoulder lift, while limited, the bicep movement is truly superb. The elbows can bend a little over 90 degrees, but just a straight up 90 for the gauntlet. And a new gimmick on the hands is that they're attached via another joint orb in between the arms and hand. That, while it does add more flexible movements regarding the hands, comes extra handy when used on the Beast Glove hands, as the added mobility does compensate for the increase in mass. Leg split is nigh, leg movement is fair, knees bend up to 90 degrees, no calf swivel, and no feet movement. So long for added leg movement. So, to give my final thoughts on Kong, Hiya's latest iteration of both the Battle Axe version and Beast Club version of Kong is an impressive release and a step up from the previous iteration of the GxK Kong, primarily due to the improvements in sculpting technology pioneered by Hiya Toys in recreating this new design, as seen through the 4K HDR resolution on the sculpt, a definitive upgrade in the paint job with added dry brushing, newly implemented joints allowing for some dynamic movements, and accompanying accessories that is a rare sight regarding kaiju figures. But not all is sunshine and rainbows, as Beast Club limits the posability regarding the right arm, as well as the newly implemented leg movement handicaps the stability of the figure. But even with such predicaments, the highlights are just too good that they shine over such shortcomings. In doing so, I would recommend both versions of Kong, and if you could, try to get both. With that said, I'm gonna give this duo ranking of a B+.